little bit of housekeeping first before we get into stuff, and that is I've got a Google document for you guys that has a lot of resources for today, and I want to make sure you guys can get into that. So before we do anything else, if you would, head over to Google Classroom where all the stuff's been getting posted up to this point. And if you get into the GHS staff classroom, what I want you to notice is that across the top you've got your different tabs, Stream, Students, and About. I actually want you to go over to the About tab rather than the Stream tab. The Stream is great, but sometimes it gets a little crowded. A lot of stuff happens in the Stream. So we've chosen to put some of this information in the About page instead. So if you head over to the About tab and you scroll down just a little bit, you will see there's a section called Google PD Resources. Each month I'm going to add another document into this same collection here. So this little box here will just grow month by month. We'll add a new doc in each time. This month we've got the September 2016 doc. So go ahead and give that a click, and there you should be. This will get you into the resources for today. All right. If anybody's not able to get into anything, just holler at any point, let me know, and we'll make sure we get everybody where you need to be. So now that we've got this document, let's go ahead and do quick introductions here. So hi again, I'm Eric. I work down in Canton at the Spark offices. I'm a tech integration guy, so my job is basically this, to do professional development, to work with schools on how to use technology in their classroom. This is my 25th year in education. I started off as a middle school math teacher. You guys are math here, the high school, right? Excellent. I am a middle school math teacher at North Canton for 7 years before moving into a role as a tech integration guy, which I then did that for 14 years. So I went from teaching students to teaching teachers, and then after 21 years at North Canton, I've now spent the last 4 years at the county level doing the exact same thing, but just with lots of schools. So now I travel around a lot and work with a lot of schools in our area. In the agenda for today, I've got a couple of links. You can ignore most of these. Check them out on your own when you've got some time. I did put my email in there in case you need to get in touch with me. I say that because I do have a demo green local schools account that I am using for some training stuff, but I obviously don't check that email or anything. So if you see that account, that's just for training. If you need to get in touch with me, please use my Spark email that you see here. I'm also going to mention real quick that I do a educational technology blog called controlaltachieve.com, where I put all of my resources. So the stuff we're looking at here today, it's just the tip of the iceberg. We're just going to cover a few little resources. Month to month to month, I would encourage you, when you get time, definitely visit controlaltachieve.com. I'm going to go ahead and head there real quick just to show you what it looks like. It is my blog, so the first thing you're going to notice is I try to put a new blog post up every couple of days. I didn't do a whole lot in the summer. Took a little bit of a break there, but normally during the school year it's 2-3 blog posts a week, something like that. You'll see recently I did a blog post on how to leave feedback for students in Google Docs. Different ways to do text feedback, voice feedback, video feedback, digital handwritten feedback, lots of ideas for that. Before that I did one on YouTube channels for social studies teachers, and if you just keep going back you'll see more and more and more blog posts there. Did one on tangrams with Google Drawings. There's a nice math topic. I do tend to lean math quite a lot because that is still got a soft spot in my heart for that. The next tab over, though, next to the Home tab, the next tab is the Resources tab, and this is where I put all of my help guides and handouts, slideshows, things like that. So if you go to the Resources tab, you can drill down into any one of the Google topics and just get a whole lot more info about that particular topic. And then the final thing I'll mention on the blog is the third tab over. That is the webinars tab. I try to record 1 or 2 video trainings per month that you can then just watch anytime you want. That's all going to be on my webinars tab. If you scroll down, you'll see I've got 23 webinars that I've recorded over the last year and a half or so. And as soon as I get the next one scheduled, I'll put it on the schedule here as well. And these are all an hour long. They're free. You can watch them anytime you want. Just click the link and go watch it. They cover a wide range of Google topics. And then at the end of the video training, there's a short little quiz you can take to prove you watched the video. And it will generate a PDF certificate of attendance for 1 contact hour that you can then turn into LPDC. So if you're looking for some more hours, here's 23 video hours whenever fit your schedule. So you can binge those if you run out of stuff on Hulu or Netflix. So you can go through all of those. So that's me. Those are my resources. There's some other blah, blah, blah stuff there, but that's the gist. Let's scroll down a little further then on our agenda for today to the second topic, which is certification overview. Now, I'm not going to spend much time here, but I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page as far as what it is you're doing here over the course of the year while we're meeting. And basically, what we're doing is you guys are going to be working through what Google calls Educator Level 1 certification. So Google provides 4 different types of certifications that you can earn. There is Educator Level 1, Level 2, and then there is Certified Trainer, and there's Certified Innovator. So those are the 4 different levels. Level 1 is where you would begin. And so what you guys have been doing is going into the training for Level 1, and you'll have noticed that there are, how many units? 13 different units over the course of Level 1 training. And so what we did was we kind of brainstormed and figured out how do we fit 13 units into 9 months, and so we combined a few of them and we moved a couple of them around. This first month for September, you guys were to go through Unit 1 and Unit 2. Now, if you'd like to sort of see the big picture of where all this is going, I do have linked in here in the certification section a checklist that shows you all of the skills that eventually get covered over the course of Level 1. You certainly don't have to do anything with this, but if it's helpful for you to kind of get a bird's eye view of where it's all going, this will show you all of the different tools that get covered. So Drive and Docs and Sheets and Slides, Classroom, Hangouts, Sites, Chrome, Search, YouTube, on and on and on. These are all the different skills that by the time this year is over, you should be able to check all these off. You should be comfortable with all of these different skills that are related to Google Apps and your classroom. All right? So, for this month, you did Unit 1 and Unit 2. As a real quick review, Unit 1 was pretty much just an introduction kind of thing, just sort of setting the stage for stuff. Unit 1 covered a couple of things. First of all, it talked about something called the 4 C's of education, which are the skills our kids need to prepare them for their future. So communication, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, those kind of things. Then Unit 1 talked about what tools Google provides for this. So it went through all the different pieces of Google Apps and Google Drive and all the different Google services that are there. Hopefully you even saw some that were kind of new to you. That'd be neat to learn about some of the new Google tools. And then the last thing that Unit 1 touched on was digital citizenship, how to have kids cite things properly and, make sure that they're being safe online and those sort of things. Then Unit 2 pretty much focused on 2 main questions. The first part of Unit 2 was, how do you get help when you're stuck, when you don't know the answer to something in Google Docs or in Google Classroom? How do you find out? And then the second thing was, how do you learn more? How do you go beyond? What do you do to find out new things, like what are creative ways to teach math with Google Apps, and how do you branch out beyond just yourself and build your own learning network? So that's pretty much what got covered in those 2. My plan for when we get together each month is to take some of the time and pick some nugget out of there that I think, oh yeah, this is really important. Let's dig deep into this one thing. And so I'm going to try to extract something each time from the trainings that we then really camp out on for a while. But the second thing is, if you guys have questions, I always want to make sure we have time each time we meet to take questions that you have since you went through Unit 1 and 2. Maybe there's something you're wondering about. Fantastic. That's what I'm here for, and I'll be glad to dig into those. So what I'm going to talk about, my nugget for you this time, is we're going to spend some time talking about Google Communities. So that's the thing we're going to camp out on. Before I do that, though, just so I can judge my time here and everything, did you guys have any questions? Was there anything that came up that you brought with you here today that you want me also to address before we use up our time today? Any questions you guys have yet? And if not, that's okay. I just want to make sure, because I'm going to do the communities things here in a bit, but if I know we got a few questions, I'll try to manage my time to make sure we can also get those in. Any questions yet? No?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Fantastic. All right. So let's talk about Google Communities, but let's do it this way. Let's start with the question, which is, how do you learn new things? Okay? So when you guys want to learn something new about Google or technology or how to use technology in your classroom, and there's no right or wrong answer, what do you currently do? How do you learn new things?
I usually go ask somebody because I like a human interaction whenever I'm trying to learn.
Perfect. So you find somebody that you know, they're pretty good with technology. I've seen them do some pretty neat things. I'm going to go talk to that person. Love it.
I usually Google it, watch a YouTube video.
Excellent. Throw in a Google search and hopefully find a video on it. That's so great, because instead of just reading about it, I can watch somebody doing it. Yeah, I was joking in the earlier group because somebody said the same thing. That is exactly what I do for a lot of things in life, and we've got this really, really, really old like Maytag clothes dryer that will not die because I can keep looking up on YouTube how to fix it. And so my wife wishes I wouldn't do that, but I've replaced the blower assembly and I've replaced the motor, and it's like, it's only $20 for this piece, honey. I can do it, you know. And so, you know, yeah, I love being able to learn from YouTube and see things done. That's fantastic. Any other ways? How do you learn things?
I just try to figure it out.
Oh, I love that. Just try, that's perfect. Poke a stick at it. Try to figure it out. If you don't know something, just try it. I mean, you're probably not going to bring down the whole network. You're probably not going to destroy anything. If so, your tech people will come and bail you out. But yeah, you just try it. You start clicking some things. And and that's how our kids learn a lot. I've got 4 kids. My youngest, Grant, he's a 4th grader now, but it was probably 2 years ago. I remember him saying this. I saw him, he was working on a Chromebook at home, and he was in Google Slides, and he was creating a slideshow and doing stuff, 2nd grader. And I said, wow, Grant, that's awesome, buddy. I said, so how'd you learn to do that? He goes, I just like to click the menus. That's exactly, he just likes to click the menus. And so he just kept clicking the menus and finding out what the things did. And that's how he learned how to make slides. It's like, yeah, that's a good attitude. That's a good attitude. It's just try it and see what happens. Okay, now all of those are correct. There's no wrong answers to it, but there's also many more ways you could learn new things. So, for example, we're not going to have time to go into, but like Twitter, do you guys use Twitter at all? If not, that's fine. But I love Twitter. That's a great way for me to learn new things, to connect with people. Blogs. I love reading blogs and pulling blogs into my blog reader so I can read what other people are writing online. That's a great way to learn. The one that we're going to take a look at today is something called Google Communities. So Google Communities are a way to connect with other people all around Ohio or around the world on a topic and learn from them. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to open up a quick little slideshow. You guys don't need to click this. That's fine. You can if you want, but you certainly don't have to. I'm going to open up a real quick slideshow to go ahead and just give you the introduction to what communities are. Then we're going to find a community, and I'm going to encourage you to join at least one community before we are done here today, just so you can see what it's like. Now, you can always unsubscribe later if you want to, not a problem, but I'd like you to try it out. I'd really encourage you to take one for a spin, see what it's like to be part of a community and how that can be beneficial. Okay, so what is a community? So, A Google community is basically a discussion forum. It's a website. It's an electronic bulletin board. It's a place you can go where people are going to ask questions, share resources, communicate, and chat together on topics. There are a lot of educational themed communities. So there's communities for math teachers and communities for special ed teachers and communities for Chromebook users in schools. There's communities for just about everything out there, and non-educational things as well. This isn't just an education thing. Communities can be public, they can be private, they can be open, they can be invite only. We're going to look at public ones today, just communities anybody can join. And once you become a member, if you do join a community, once you're a member, you can do two things. One thing you can do is you can post to the community. You can share stuff. You can ask a question of everybody. You can share a really cool idea, something you did in the classroom. That's great. In addition to being able to post to the group, the other thing you can do is you can get notifications when people post. Now, you don't have to. I'll show you how to turn that on or off, but it can be a nice way if you don't think you're going to remember to go back and check the community. You can have it let you know. You can get a little email notification when people do post to the community so that you're aware of new resources. Here's the only gotcha, and that is, to be able to join a Google community, we do have to turn on one thing first, and that's something called Google+. Have you guys ever used Google+? Does that ring a bell? Okay. Now, not a lot of people have, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Google+ is a service that Google created 5-6 years back, and it was sort of when they were trying to compete more with Twitter and Facebook. It's more of like a social media kind of thing. They don't do a lot with Google+ anymore, but it is still connected to Google Communities. So, when we go look at a community here in just a minute, and when we go click join to join the community, you're going to find out really fast whether or not you've activated your Google Plus profile yet or not. If you haven't, it's a very quick little thing. You'll just click a few buttons and it'll be done. But if you have, then you'll just join the community right away. Otherwise, there's just a one-time little bit of steps we got to do. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to visit a community called GEG Ohio. Now, when you were going through the training, you should have heard them talk about Google Educator groups. This would have been Unit 2, Lesson 2. They spent some time talking about Google Educator groups. So these are communities, they're Google Plus communities, and they're all around the world. Okay, a couple of years ago, I don't remember now, 2-3 years ago, I'm not sure how far back that was now, Google said, hey, we would love it if every state would create their own GEG, their own Google Educator group using communities so that local people could help local people. It was sort of a grassroots sort of a thing. And so we have in the state of Ohio the Google Educator Group of Ohio. Now you can get there a bunch of ways. I did make a short address if you want to use that, tiny.cc/GEG-Ohio, but I put the full link in your handout for today. So if we go back to our agenda, you will see if you go down to Unit 2 and you go down to Lesson 2, highlighted in yellow is the Google Educator Group of Ohio, and right there is the link to it. So let's go ahead and let's visit that Google community. And there it is. All right, so this is GEG Ohio. Now, what is a community? Okay, quick tour. So when you get to a community, what you're going to see in the top left will be the community name and logo, and then it'll tell you how many members. We're doing great. We almost have 1,700 members across the state of Ohio. And then below there's a spot to join, which again, we'll do that in just a moment here. And then below there's some information about what the community is about. Kind of gives you a little breakdown on it. To the right of that, though, is where all the stuff happens. This is the stream. So as people post to the community, this is where their posts go, and this is where people can reply to each other and discuss and have a conversation. So you'll see Stacy Smith. She posted about Screencastify, a fantastic Chrome extension. Hopefully we'll have time to talk about that in the coming months. I use it all the time. Love it, love it, love it. It's a great tool. Anthony, my colleague, posted about Matt Miller's recent blog post on deep learning with Google Tools. Yesterday I posted about my most recent webinar about fantastic feedback tools for Google Docs. But as you just keep going down the list, you'll see a lot of people are sharing either upcoming training opportunities or questions or ideas or resources. And again, it may just be that they post it, but then again, there could also be a conversation. Sometimes you'll see people write back to each other. She might put a question out there and then get responses back from others. All right, so that is what a Google Plus community looks like. If you would like to join one, which again, I would encourage you guys to at least take it for a spin, try it out. I would encourage you to join GEG Ohio and just see what sort of resources you can get from this. And the way that's going to happen is, over here on the left, you're just simply going to click the join button. Now, if you do not have your Google Plus profile set up yet, you'll see right away it's going to ask you to do that. So if I come here with my green local account and I click on join, it's going to say, hey, you don't have your Google Plus profile set up yet. So I want to show you how that works. However, I'm not going to use this account because I'm doing this 8 times in a row today. I can't use the same account more than once. So I'm going to use this account over here. Let me grab the link real quick. I'm going to use this demo account that I set up just for this purpose, just for this session. Let me get, let me get back into here. So here we go. Okay, so if I am at GEG Ohio and I'm saying, oh, this is great, I want to join this community, I want to be a part of this, and I come here and I click join, it'll say you need to set up your profile. Well, this is just a demo account, John Smith, but basically you just need to do a couple of things. Make sure your name is in there, and of course you can change it if you need to, but typically just leave your name as it is. Below there, choose your gender if you wish to indicate that, and then below there, put in your birth date. Now the birth date, they do need you to do that because you have to be 13 years or older to use Google Plus and Google Communities and things like that. So that they do actually require that you put in your birth date at the bottom. And that's it. Once you have put in your name and the birth date and so forth, you just go ahead and click Create Profile in the bottom right-hand corner. And after you do that, you're pretty much done. You don't have to do anything else after that. They do give you an option to add like your picture. So if you want to click the little picture thing and upload an image to have as your avatar, you don't have to. You can always do it later as well if you want. For now though, I'm not going to for this demo account. So at the very bottom, I'm just going to click skip. I'm not going to actually set that up. But now that I've done that, now I could join the community because I've gone through that one-time process of setting up my profile. I could now click on the join button, and that's it. As simple as that. Just by clicking join, it now attaches my account as a member to the GEG Ohio community. Now let's pause there for just a moment. Any questions on that?
Oh, I just saw the numbers go up.
Yeah, it's going up live as we're joining. It's happening live. Okay, so now remember I told you, you can do 2 things. Once you become a member, there's 2 things you can do. One is you can tell it to send you email notifications when somebody adds a post. Now you got to decide if you want to do this or not. There's pros and cons, but I want to show you where you make that choice. So in the top right-hand corner of where the logo is, so up here in the top left, to the right of that, so to the right of the logo, there's this little 3 dots button. Looks like a little vertical list of 3 dots. If you click that, there's a preferences section there. That's where you can go in to turn on or off the email notifications. So if I go into the preferences, they're off by default, but if I turn them on, then I will get notified whenever somebody adds a new post. Now again, you got to kind of think this through. It's up to you. If you think, this is a cool community, I like this, but I just know I'm not going to have time to remember to go visit it. It's not going to happen. I'm going to forget about it. A month will go by and I'll be like, oh shoot, I never looked at GEG Ohio in the last month. If that's the case, turn on the notifications. You won't get a ton of them, probably 4, 5, 6, 7 a week. We had 3 of them in one day, but then we didn't have another one but 5 days before. So you may not get a whole bunch of them, but that would let you know, oh, somebody has put something new on the site, and you could take a look at that if you so choose. On the other hand, if you're like, nah, I'll just visit it every now and then, perfectly fine. You can turn off the notifications and basically just bookmark the site so that you don't lose it, and just every now and then say, every Monday or every Friday or whatever, I'm going to go visit my communities and I'm going to see, is there anything new there that I want to grab. Okay? In addition to getting notified, the second thing you're able to do with a community once you're a member is you're allowed to post to the community. So notice that now that I'm a member, I can come down to the bottom right-hand corner where the little pencil icon is, and I could post if I wanted to. So if I wanted to ask a question, or if I wanted to share a resource, boom, right there I can go to add my own question or comment or resource to the community. All right. Now that's just one example of a community. There are way more communities out there, thousands and thousands and thousands of them. So what if you want to find other communities? Probably the easiest thing is just to run a search and start narrowing them down. So like we're inside of GEG Ohio right now, but if I go up to the top where it says search right above, I can run a search. So I could say, oh, I'm a math teacher, so I'm going to search for math. And if I ran a search for math, and if I scroll down a little bit, here is a communities section, and it's giving me 4 sample communities. But if I wanted to, I could even hit more to see more communities. And these are all coming up from a math search. So it looks like we've got math education. Almost 16,000 members of that one. Or there's history of math, teaching resources, 128,000 members. STEM on Google+, STEM educators, math and technology. And so all of these are basically groups of people from all around the world that are sharing some sort of a common theme that they want to share resources on. So you could start searching for communities, and once you find one that looks interesting, just give a click on it and see if it looks good. So like math education, give a click on it, start scrolling down, reading through some of the recent posts, see if they seem valuable. If it looks like, yeah, that's kind of cool, yeah, I like those, well then join the community. If not, no problem. Just keep on searching and see what other communities might be a good match for you. Now, I will let you know this, the more communities you join, Google will start to figure out kind of what it is you like, and so you'll start getting recommendations for communities as well. So for example, if I were to, later on, close out of my community and then try to get back into all that stuff, one way to get back into it is by using your waffle button from Drive or any of the regular Google pages, and choosing Google+, because communities are actually part of Google+. And so if I go back to Google+ through my waffle button in the future, you will see that I'll now have a communities menu item over here on the left. And if you close that out, you can always open it back up. That communities menu item in Google+, that's where you're going to find recommendations, and that's where you're going to find what you're a member of. So as you join more communities, the member tab will grow, but the recommendations tab will start getting more similar to who you are, because it'll look at what you've been joining. Right now, they're just kind of throwing everything at you and saying, hey, what about these, But as you do start to join stuff, it'll get more specific for you.
Well, there's groups for everything. Batman?
Yeah. It's not just educational, it's any topic out there. Communities can be used for anything. But I will tell you this, educators have embraced communities very well. There's a lot of educational communities out there. I belong to way more communities than is probably reasonable. If I go to my real account, if I head over to my actual, not my training accounts, but if I go here and I go to communities, you'll probably think I have a problem, the amount of communities I belong to. So as a member, I'm a member of all of these communities. Yeah, it's a big list. So I don't even know how many are in that list. And I do not have email notifications turned on for all of them. Just a very small handful of some important ones that I absolutely want to make sure I get notified of. Other than that, you know, it's a place I know I can go to visit if I need to connect with people of that topic. If I've got a training coming up, on science, I know where to go to reach out to science teachers if I've got a question or something like that. So, all right. Let me keep an eye on our time here. We have enough time. I can definitely squeeze in one more nugget of information. But have any questions come up from you guys so far here? All right, very good. So, what else can we take care of real quick? So let me go ahead and I'm going to show you one other piece of information that you guys can take with you today. And let me go ahead and close out of a couple of these things here. And I'll show you this real quick here. All right, so the other thing that I'm going to show you guys real quick is from Unit 2, Lesson 1. Okay, so that's Unit 2, Lesson 2, where we talked about building your professional learning network, connecting with communities. Unit 2, Lesson 1 was more along the lines of, what do you do when you're stuck, when you don't have an answer to a problem inside of Google Docs? How do I insert a table? How do I, in Classroom, archive a class? Whatever it might be. So it's not like you're necessarily trying to learn something new as much as I've got a problem and I'm trying to solve it. Well, in Unit 2, Lesson 1, they talked about 3 different ways to get answers. They left off a 4th option, probably because it's brand new. This is something that's only been out in the last few months, and they wrote those training materials earlier on. And I want to make sure that you guys are aware this is an awesome free resource for you to get help when you're stuck. So if you're working in Google Apps and you're stuck on something, this is one more way to get help. So here's the way this works. Years ago, there was a company that made a tool called Synergize, and Synergize was this really neat Chrome extension. Now, if you haven't ever messed with Chrome extensions, a Chrome extension is a little helper tool that you can install in Google Chrome to give you more features. So, for example, if I look at my work account, you'll see I've got a whole bunch of these little teeny icons up here in the top right. That's like Screencastify and Save to Drive and Read and Write for Google, and I've got all these cool extensions that I've got installed up there. Well, these are little helper programs that give you more features. Well, there used to be one called Synergize, and what it was basically just-in-time help for Google Apps. If you were in the middle of Docs and you forgot how to do something, the extension would help you. It would talk you through it and show you a little video and so forth. Well, it was such an awesome product that Google bought the company and made it free. And so now, it used to be something you had to pay for. Now anybody can install the extension for free. It's not called Synergize anymore. Now it's just called Training for Google Apps. That's just the name of the extension. And so if we install that, anytime you want to find out how to do something inside of Sheets or Slides or Docs or Classroom or whatever, it'll be there to help you. So I'm going to go ahead and install it. If you guys would like to do the same, please feel free to follow along. If you just want to watch me install it and you can do it later, that's fine too. But I want to install it and show you how it works. So basically, if you scroll down in our document to Unit 2, Lesson 1, you will see highlighted in yellow a link for Training for Google Apps extension. And right there it'll say Chrome Web Store link. Now, this is going to take you, if you click on this, out to the Chrome Web Store. So let me give a click on there, and it's going to take you straight to that extension. Now, the Chrome Web Store will spend plenty of time on in some future month. I don't remember right offhand which one it falls into, but the Chrome Web Store is amazing. There's just hundreds and thousands of awesome extensions and apps and things you can install for you and your students. It's fantastic, wonderful. Well, this is just one example extension. So, what you do is once you go to the Chrome Web Store, to this link I've given you, you will see in the top right-hand corner there's a button that says Add to Chrome. And so if we come up there and give a click on that blue button, Add to Chrome, it'll ask for permission. We'll go ahead and click Add Extension, and it's going to do its thing. So basically what it's doing is it's installing that extension to my account. What that means is this is a one-time thing. You don't have to reinstall it every time you want to use it. If you install it on one computer, it shows up on other computers for you because it's your account you're installing it to. It's going to follow you around anywhere you go. Now, what does it do? Well, let's try it out. So I've just installed it, so I can close out of my Chrome Web Store tab. If I go pretty much to any Google product now, I should see this extension up in the top right. So inside of Google Docs, up in the top right, there's the little question mark button. If I go to Google Classroom, yep, there we go. Top right of Google Classroom, there's the little question mark button. If I go to Google Drive, yep, there it is, little question mark button in the top right. Any product I'm in now, I can go up to that little floating question mark and give a click on it, and what it's going to do is it's going to bring up a tab or a panel here on the side where I can get help on anything I'm stuck on. So I'm in Classroom. So this is Google Classroom, and I go, oh, I can't remember, how do I archive a class? How do I create an assignment? How do I push an assignment out to more than one student? How do I invite guardians to Classroom? Whatever the question might be. Well, this is now an option for you. Click the little question mark button and start looking down. Here's the newest things they've added, but then down here you can drill down into like Classroom for Teachers and say, okay, let's see. I want to remember how to, well, email a guardian, archive a class, grade and return an assignment. Whatever it might be, you simply come here, give a click on the thing you want to learn about, and it's going to go ahead and play a video for you. Sometimes it'll actually pause and make you do things. It'll highlight parts of the screen and say, okay, now come up here and click this. And you'll actually go up there and click it. It'll like walk you through step by step what you need to do that process. So this tool is totally free. It's just an extension that once you have installed, anytime you get started, and again, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be Drive, click it in Drive, and now you'll get a bunch of things of how to do stuff in Drive if you forget how to do that. Same for docs and sheets and slides and forms. I want to know how to convert a PDF into text. No problem. That'll talk you through it. Or whatever the thing is you need to be able to do. It'll help you with that.